During my last year of high school, my parents suggested that I do my pilot's license. Other than going to the gym after school, I didn't really do anything else, so why not? It's not like I had a reason to refuse. After all, it'd be funny to have my pilot's license but not a driver's license. The course was at the airport, which was about 30 minutes away from the nearest form of public transport. The only other way to get there was either by taxi or personal car, which I did not have. Classes were from 6:30 to 9:30 in the evening, so I would usually train and eat at school before heading there. I got as close as the city bus would let me. Then I'd walk up a hill and straight for a bit before turning in a badly lit street in the middle of the forest before eventually making it there. By the time I made it, I'd be kind of tired and cold, so the hardest thing to do was to stay awake for another 3 hours straight before finally going home. I went on my first flight a few weeks later. My instructor was very relaxed. He also told me he was only here to get his flight hours up so he could get a better job. Which, fair enough. The plane was a small Cessna 2-seater. After starting the plane, my instructor asked me to do all the communications. At that point, I wasn't really confident with what I was supposed to do since I'd only had a few theory classes. He probably saw me stressing out, so he took over. However, he insisted on me flying the plane off the tarmac. Luckily, it went well. Then he opened the window, put his arm out, and told me where to go. I didn't even know he could do that. He didn't talk much. But then, out of nowhere, he took over the controls and started doing a bunch of maneuvers with the plane. I'm assuming it was to show me what the plane could do in emergency situations. It definitely took me by surprise. Afterwards, he did a few more things and we headed back to the airport. The landing was quite turbulent. Now I understood why they say small planes are more susceptible to turbulence than large planes. It was a stressful experience, but everyone survived, so it could have been worse. Afterwards, he learned that it was my first flight. He thought he was going with someone who had more experience. That instructor left the school a few days later since he found a piloting job up north. My new instructor knew my experience level, so he took his time in explaining everything. I then finished my theory classes a few weeks later. I only had the exams to take and a lot of flight hours left to do. Then, on a warm late summer day, I went back to the airport for what would be my final flight with my instructor. As we were doing the final checkups before leaving with the plane, I noticed something behind us. There was someone on the ground besides a running aircraft. We stopped the plane, then my instructor went to help while I took the plane back to its parking space. The person got out of the plane while the engine was running and got hit by the propeller in the head and his body. He got badly injured, but he survived, luckily. After this whole situation, I went back home. At that point, I didn't plan on buying a plane after my course or becoming a professional pilot. Renting the plane was also quite expensive, so my motivation was already kind of low. The accident was the final nail in the coffin and also ended my days as a pilot. However, I still went on a bunch of commercial flights since then. A fun thing to think about though is that I still have more experience flying planes than driving cars since I've never actually got my driver's license. Anyways, I think it's funny. Hey, thanks for watching this far. I hope you enjoyed the story. Also, feel free to comment and to let me know what you think. After all, this is the first video I've ever made. Well, except for some school documentary thing I did years ago. Anyways, have a nice day.